In this video, I will give my best ideas and the most important rules for language learning. Let's get right into the details. If you will learn just one very crucial thing from all of my videos, it should be always start with why. It holds a lot of power. My advice to you to implement it in all fields of life: always dig as deep as you can with your whys. I think you experience that English learning nowadays is a must. If you are interested in any topics or you need any new information, you will find the answer in English. All that I present to you now is because I could research in English, so it is indispensable. But why else you should learn languages? What are the benefits of it? Let's start with some logical reasons here. Money and success can be a big motivation, and the economic standpoints are obvious. It can open you to new opportunities. Even if you don't have to use other languages, employers are willing to pay more for bilingual employees because you seem smarter if you speak more languages. Actually, you don't just seem smarter. As you learn, you become smarter. Statistically proven, people who speak more languages tend to be more creative and better problem solvers. It is also something that can be very beneficial in your job or for your enterprise. It also improves your memory and even makes you better at multitasking. Your brain isn't just getting stronger, it's getting healthier too. Different studies have shown a remarkable delay of dementia and Alzheimer if you speak more languages. As you're getting older, your bilingual brain remains longer healthier than a monolingual. It is also true the ones who learned their languages later and wasn't born as bilingual. Finally, it has not just economic and health benefits, but it is even good for your soul. They say you are as many a person as languages you know. What does it actually mean? Here's an example. Let's say you start learning Italian. The sound system, the rhythm, the flow of the language, you start learning and reading from people who live there, their mentality, their customs, their music, really everything. Of course, it is much better if you can travel and live there, but nowadays you have so many opportunities on the internet. When you learn, I advise you to study every detail that helps you to be a little Italian. You should mimic the sounds, the tune, the tempo, even the gestures that they have. In the beginning, you may fake it a bit, and it takes a lot of practice, but with time, you start to realize that if you speak in Italian, you can be your Italian version, which is not fake anymore. You just have this new personality. And it's not just that, it's not just about you. When you speak to an Italian in English, it feels very different than if he can express himself to you in Italian. You simply can't experience these feelings that you can get from learning a language. So, before any techniques, I hope you already have the motivation and the reasons to learn languages. Now let's get into the cornerstones of language learning. I organized the techniques by importance. Rule number 1. If you learn anything new, be it a letter, a word, a sentence, or any expression, try to learn it as proper pronunciation as you can. If you need to listen carefully to one particular word for 20 times, then do it. Don't try to save time and skip the right pronunciation. In the future, it will give you an enormous advantage. And really, don't do it with just words. Later, we will build on sentences. With them, you also should try to create a similar tune, rhythm, tempo, and word pronunciation as the native speaker. With this mimic exercise, you don't just practice and develop your pronunciation, but you can ground your future skill to understand the spoken language. If you think about it, it makes sense. If you can't say it correctly on your own, then you don't know what you should hear, and you have no chance to recognize it. If I had known this simple fact earlier and had done some exercises for this, I would speak more comfortably in English, and I would be also fluent in German. Rule number 2. Start to speak the language at the very beginning. Use the language in communicating. If you are lucky enough to be in the country of the language you are learning, use only that language. It speeds the learning curve tremendously. Your brain will adopt everything faster if you speak it. Destroy your fears and get ready for many mistakes, as children do. You can begin to use the language after the very first few days of learning. The sooner, the better. Rule number 3. You must learn with spaced repetition system. I made an own video on this topic. Check it out if you're not familiar with this yet. This is also key. Our biggest challenge is to remember the words and rules in the long run, ideally forever. It is easy to learn 20 new words a day, but it is not so easy to do that for 100 days and maintain all the already learned words. The good news here, it is possible. Rule number 4. Try to learn with pictures instead of translations. It doesn't need too much explanation. Your brain thinks in pictures, so it helps a lot. You should use it. Rule number 5. Recall, not reread. This is the big difference between passive and active vocabulary. If your goal is just to read a lot, passive vocab can be very useful. But if you would like to use it for talking with people, which I believe is important to you, you need to be able to recall the words and sentences, so learning in that way is also essential. Rule number 6. Understand the words and phrases well and use them in context. You need example sentences for better understanding. You need to figure out the meaning of new words as accurate as you can. And sentences are a great way to strengthen your already existing vocabulary, and you will also get a lot of grammar rules from that naturally. I hope you are ready to implement all these techniques in your learning methods. So in the next video, I show my system, which is free, very flexible, and meets all the requirements that I mentioned above. I always try to improve my approach, so if you don't want to miss new ideas, subscribe to the channel.